Hey guys, welcome to today's video on the 6 traits of those who struggle too much. And I personally have to take a deep breath because I feel like I have a lot to say on this. Look, if you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Elika. I'm a trusted advisor and an energy optimization coach for purpose-driven leaders who want to have more peace, joy and harmony and create a really beautiful balance in their personal and professional life and understand that they need the energy to do so. So if you haven't subscribed already for energy tips, what are you waiting for? You can subscribe, hit subscribe now. So let's go into today's topic. Oh my gosh. Like, why have I not done this video before? Like, Elika, just explain all the things that you used to do that used to drain you from energy. That's what I should have called this. But anyway, that wouldn't have been as SEO friendly. So number one is they feel the need to do it all alone. So me in this state, I was the queen of, I can do it all. I don't need anybody else. Of course, I give grace to myself that I understand that my upbringing, single parent, 3 children, a lot of things to do, a lot of responsibilities lay on my shoulders. I give grace to myself that I would say that the weakness of that is also my greatest strength. I'm highly resourceful because of that. But when going through this story that you need to do it all alone, that nobody else can do it as good as you, that there's nobody even there to help you, it is literally just that. It's just a story. But the challenge is, as social creatures that moved in tribes for survival, it's just not possible. No matter how many superpowers we have, it's not possible for one person to do it all. You know, sometimes when you're listening to people talk about all the challenges that they went through in their lives and how they overcame it to be the person that they were, whether it be the billionaire entrepreneur or whoever they are, you know, the most successful professional athlete, they talk about all the struggles that they went through and how they overcame it. And sometimes they forget to say they didn't go through it. They didn't overcome it. Them and the people that were around them went through it, and them and the people that supported them, you know, whoever that would be. I think of my second burnout when I was running a restaurant, and I deemed it to be successful in business terms and not successful at all personally, because it came at a huge expense of my personal life and my health. But I think about the days that I was absolutely exhausted, clearly couldn't manage my emotions of frustration, and all the people that were in my kitchen that had to work with me, sensing that they probably felt like they were treading on eggshells, but sensing that I was, you know, in sometimes completely out of my depth. So I didn't go through that. We all went through that. Then I think about the times when I reached out for help and I got whatever I could. I had very good friends that, you know, would sometimes come in and just run a shift with me and would run the floor with me when people didn't turn up for work. I remember the barista who did my coffee training and trained me so that I could cover if the barista never turned in, and how he would just come like randomly just to check in on me. And we went through it. And that's the key thing is here, there is no there is no we're alone. Even if you try to, you're also impacting other people. So this is a trait that we get to overcome when we decide to rewrite our story. And it means that we then rewrite the story to one where we use the relationships around us as the source of our well-being and the support structure and the systems that we're designed to have in order for us to be thriving energetically. So the second trait is not investing in their education. I would say that growth mindset is one of my core values. It's something that I look for in my relationships. It's so I'm sometimes too much because I'm obsessed with my personal growth. And I know that, you know, you could say an immigrant child growing up in England, like all immigrant children from immigrant parents, they have that same mantra drilled into them, which is get an education, get an education, get an education. But it's because their parents understand the power of having knowledge. Now, I don't believe for 1 second that we all have to go to the normal education system, school, college and university. I don't believe that in this day and age we need that. But education means getting your mind to be able to be opened to possibilities that are outside of what you know in your small little mind. And growth mindset is such a huge value for me, because if you are not open to learning something new, if you are not open to a different idea, if you want to restrict yourself to cognitive bias, you're going to get very, very, very drained of energy very quickly. Because what's going to happen is, when you can't control everything in your environment and everything around you based on your knowledge that's in front of you, you're going to suffer from anxiety, because you're going to be in this fear state where you can see all the possibilities that could go wrong, and not have that openness and that growth mindset that allows you to understand that there's an abundance of possibilities available to you. And that mindset now, that it's one thing that's always been in my favorites. I've always had a growth mindset. I've always wanted more. I've always strived for more. I've always wanted to know more, learn more. I've always had this childlike curiosity that's freaking annoying for some people. But it's allowed me to think that, as Marie Forleo would say, everything is figure outable. And that mantra and belief that I have has made me believe that I don't think I suffer from anxiety. Like, literally, I can think sometimes where I go, oh, that must be anxiety, that must be it. But I can never see myself going, I'm an anxious person or I suffer from anxiety. I just cannot imagine that I would ever be that person. Never say never, but it's because I deeply believe that is that mindset of only believing what's in front of me and not opening yourself up to education, new ways of learning things. So my third is not investing in your physical body. So life is always going to be a struggle for you. You're always going to have this trait of not believing that you are worth investment. It's such a horrible trait that allows you to struggle, because what can you do without a physical body? Like, when you think about it. So you see companies or business owners, and they will invest in their printer. They'll get a flashy website, you spend ages on it. They'll do all of this, and then they will sit in front of their computer eating junk food every day and not go, I'm worth investing in myself. I'm worth figuring out how I can change this habit. I'm worth figuring out who has the knowledge and the wisdom in this area that can support me, because clearly my expertise isn't eating well. This not looking after your physical body and treating yourself like a machine. So I had a conversation with a lady the other day that was considering joining the Health Concierge, my coaching and lifestyle support. And as I asked her what investment has she made in herself, she started reeling off all of the time management trainings that she'd had, the leadership training that she had. Then she started talking about, oh yeah, and then I had diversity training for my team, because we're a really diverse team. And I remember asking her, what was the training that you've invested in the last 12 to 24 months that was purely on your inner world, your inner being, and not on your effect with just the outside environment, like being a better leader, managing my time well? And yeah, she looked at me and she knew what that meant. And that, even investing in yourself, like the amount of people that will, invest based on a price rather than the value that it brings to themselves. Oh no, I can't afford your coaching, or I can't afford this. But what I have come to realize is that I invest in the stock market. I make sure I have multiple revenue streams. But whenever I invest in my own personal growth, the return on the investment, it beats the 10 to 15% that I can get on the stock market, which is really good anyway. It beats that because it quantum leaps and it compounds in a way that the frequency that I give off, that I emit, and therefore the frequency that I receive as a magnet for that frequency being on the same level, the energetic containers that support me, that want to be around a person that is vibrating at the higher frequency, that is the result of my return on the investment. So I have spent hundreds and thousands on my own personal growth. And when I think about, my investment in my nutrition, my investment once a year, doing all of the tests that I need to do on every single part of my body to see where where my metrics are, like where are my deficiencies, where do I need to optimize in my supplements, in my lifestyle. All of these things I do in terms of preventative healthcare, I do because I know that investment, it quadruples, like I think so much more, right? And yet some people just feel like the only investment that they should make is in the people around them, the items around them, everybody else, and not themselves. And I think this is a trait of struggling that makes me sad, because it's not until maybe that you start that journey that you start seeing the compound that you start realizing really the importance of it. We all value the education system because our culture and our environment does it. But the education system, unfortunately, is extremely limited with what it teaches you. And what it teaches you is how to survive in a system that in most cases are broken. I mean, look at how general practitioners, GPs, get trained in medicine. 7 years of medicine and 7 hours on nutrition, when every single cell in your body is made up of protein, cells and fats, and they get 7 hours of nutrition. That's our education system. I'm a business graduate. This is my third business, and I can guarantee that the only thing that my business degree really supported me with was my ability to connect with other people. My social skills from university partying days and living in a house as a student with lots of other people. That's what it did. Not the textbooks that I read, the money that I spent on these big, thick economics textbooks. No, not when I had to learn my accounting, how to read my balance sheet, my financial statement, and I did accounting. No, not my HR when I studied CIPD and I learned how to be a HR professional and lead and manage people, but that just basically taught me how to do administration, not manage emotional intelligence. So none of that education system helped me. So what that means is that we all have to figure out what is the extra investment that we need. And I can tell you a starting place is my biggest asset that I focus on in the Health Concierge, which is giving you the inner work so that your brain is rewired, so that the belief systems that you have create thoughts and actions that align with your values and align with the highest version of yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And so investing in yourself and knowing that is true self-love and that you're worth it, that is the path that we want to go to, and not the trait of, I don't invest in myself, I can't afford it, or, all of those things. Okay, number 4 is, you can see I'm really, this topic, honestly, and I will say that I'm so passionate about this because I relate to how much I lived my life through these lenses. And for anybody that's out there that really believes that some of these traits is how they think and believe, I invite you to really look at what am I saying that resonates with you the most, and what of the solutions am I presenting that is the smallest, most realistic first step that you can make and take it. So the 4th is mindset. And mindset is in my pillar 4, my framework, the energy reset recipe, my 4 pillars. Mindset and self-care is my 4th pillar. And that's because the rewiring of your mind is one of the most important things that I do when I work with an individual on looking at every single area of their life that takes energy from them. You sometimes may find yourself struggling because of the limitations that you have. And the thing that I always see is that if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. Whereas I know that my limitations will never limit me. And again, that's because the mindset that I have is an abundance mindset. It's everything is figuring outable. It's what am I supposed to learn from this? This is how can I look at this differently? What am I not seeing from this? These are some of the mantras that I've said for years that have slowly reprogrammed my brain and upgraded my software. And that mindset that you need, look at, the mind is becoming a real great focus in the last 5 years, which I love. But look at professional athletes as far back as you can. Their coaches always talked about mindset. I think back to, what's that film with Tom Cruise? Oh my gosh, I've forgotten it. But you know that really old film, is it maybe an 80s film with Tom Cruise? And is he even the coach? Oh my God, I haven't seen this film for ages. But I think back to some of those old films with like the professional sports athletes and the coaches that they had, and you see them and they're getting geared up. It was always about mindset. When I traveled the world to learn from the indigenous culture and go into ancient wisdom and start seeing the nuances between what the West has been teaching me with regards to health and well-being and nutrition and what they believe, the biggest difference I saw was that the West was focused on the physical body. So diet and exercise, and then you'll be good enough. Whereas in ancient wisdom and in Eastern philosophies and all the indigenous populations, they were all focused on the mind and purpose. And that's because we've always known that the mind it's the gear stick. It is the control system. It is going to decide which way you go. And so if you're not looking and taking that time and investing in your beliefs and the way that your mind works, then it's going to be a struggle. So let's go to 5. 5 is having no strategy. People that have no strategy always struggle, because I can decide that I want to go to Italy, but I need to figure out how am I going to get there, right? Am I going to get the train? Am I going to get the plane? Am I going to figure out how to do this over land? You always need a strategy. I may decide that I am going to start eating more healthy fats and make sure that protein's on my plate. But I need a strategy of what that looks like. I need to order enough protein so that I'm never short. I need to have some go-to places that will have good quality protein. I need to think about, how many meals do I need to eat a day and average that over that? I need a strategy, right? In every area of your life, you need a strategy. And the beautiful thing about having a strategy is it makes you efficient with your energy. When you don't have a strategy, which is very typical sometimes of what I see of the generators in human design. If you don't know about human design, check out my human design readings in the link below. But what I see typically of generators is because they have an abundance of energy, they're very careless with it. And so they have that approach of scattering themselves thinly, doing multiple different things, but without a strategy as to why. You see these on these people that are taking up social media because they believe that that's going to give them more awareness, but they don't have a social media strategy. So a strategy is a, let's say in the realms of masculine and feminine energy, it's the masculine container that gives you structure, support, systems and processes so that your feminine energy, we all have feminine and masculine energy, so your ability to flow, your creativity, let's say, can just move with ease and flow efficiently, right? So strategy is that roadmap. And number 6, last but not least, is people that believe that they don't need to rest. You know that whole, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Oh my gosh, like how short-sighted is that? How small-minded is those ideas? There is not a machine in this world, and you are not a machine, that doesn't require a period of time without rest, right? But yet we believe that we don't need sleep, we don't need rest, that we can just get by on 5-6 hours of sleep. When we can see the data, right? We can see the metrics, we can see scientifically, they've already studied sleep patterns, sleep hygiene, how surgeons perform on lack of sleep, how drivers perform. All of these studies have all been done. But no, okay, these people like me at that time believe that they are that niche that doesn't need it. And I'm not saying that in some circumstances, I believe in every field that there is somebody that is like the anomaly in everything. I believe that. But the truth is that when you sleep, it's the best form of meditation. That time that you have to create space to just be with you. And it's at that space where beautiful things can happen. And so, as I share with all my leaders, is you can co-create with everybody around you by looking at what they're doing and trying to do it the same or better. Or you can co-create with God, the universe, whatever you call it. And that creation will be the purest, most personalized ideas that you can have. And that's where I get my ideas from. I don't get it from people around me. I actually don't find most people around me inspirational. So my ideas are influenced by people that have done a lot of inner work. It's influenced them. But then ultimately I co-create with the universe, because the universe I get that signal from God that's like, let's go with that. And I'm one of those people that when God tells me this is that way, this is what you're going to say, or this is what you're going to do, I just do it. And so I would say that the sleep, physically, physiologically, like in every way of our design, like we are needing sleep to be in our optimal self and not to feel like we're struggling. We need to recharge our battery so that our energy is in overflow, and sleep is a priority because it's the way that we do that. We would never think about just letting our phones go to red and not doing anything about it. We'd be like running for the charger. And people that believe that they don't need to rest, they're the ones that have that habit of struggle life. So I hope you enjoyed this video today and this sharing as much as I have. I feel like this topic, I could talk about it in a lot more detail and also in different ways. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments below on what your takeaway is of what I've shared today. If you feel like there's somebody in your life that could really hear this message, please feel free to share them. And as I said at the beginning, if you would love to hear more ways that you can optimize your energy so that you can be in overflow and make the impact that you came here to do, then please subscribe, and I look forward to sharing.